Welcome to another episode of the 412 Podcast. My name is Jeremy Davis. I'm the Associate Pastor at FBC Mustang. This is a podcast brought to you by the ministries of FBC Mustang. It is such a sweet time in the life of our ministry and the life of our church. And really, it's a very exciting time at the same time. And speaking of exciting, we have a really exciting show today. We have just finished up a DNow weekend here at the church. And we have a group of very special guests. Joey, welcome to the show, or welcome back to the show, I should say.
Thanks for having me.
So, Joey, how long have you been on staff here?
I had my 5-year anniversary in January.
January, okay. And you are officially the sole youth pastor on staff. We previously had 2 youth pastors, and Kent Jaggers has gone to pastor another church in Oklahoma. But you are the sole youth pastor now.
Yep.
Yeah, how's it going?
It's good. It's a lot. So DNow was the first big event, just being by myself, and I realized how much Kent and I worked together on on that, but we made it through. So
yeah, well, that's great. Well, from my perspective, from down the hall, it seems like you're doing an incredible job. I hear nothing but good things. So that's exciting. And how many DNows have you done here at FBC Mustang?
So this would have been my 6th on staff, I think. And I worked a couple as a college student, just leading a small group. Yeah. So probably 8 total.
Okay, very good. What was your theme, and tell us a little bit about this weekend?
So our theme was regeneration. Our theme verse was Titus 3:5, which says, "He saved us, not because of works done by us in righteousness, but according to his own mercy, by the washing of regeneration and renewal of the Holy Spirit." And so we pulled the regeneration word out, which is a word to describe salvation and being made new or born again, as Jesus says in John 3. And so our speaker, Jeff DiGiacomo, he's the senior pastor at IBC in Shawnee, and he had just preached through Titus at his church in the fall. And so he was able to walk us through Titus in our 3 worship sessions together and just kind of unpack what salvation looks like, what we're saved to. We're saved to Christ for sanctification and renouncing ungodliness from chapter 2, and then chapter 3 to that makes us submissive to authorities and also gospel witnesses.
Yeah. So you had the speaker in. You also had a band here?
Yep.
Okay, who was that?
So our band's name was Poor in Spirit. It's led by Kashawn Barber, who's one of our student ministry interns. And my brother-in-law is also in that band, Dylan Barber, his brother. And they've got a team of guys from their area of the world, Ada and Stratford, that come from Sovereign Grace Church down there. And they've put a band together. They've led worship at their church for a number of years and just kind of started doing it,
cool.
to get paid.
Yeah, that's cool. That's a good kickback.
Yeah,
to get paid. Okay, so speaking of a student intern, you had a couple interns that are working with us now. Tell us a little bit about them.
So we've got Kashawn Barber and Mary Hibbets that are serving as student ministry interns with me on Sundays. And the main goal of that is to get them exposure to ministry. Both of them feel kind of called to vocational ministry, so it'll get them experience in that area.
Yeah. And
also just to help me, we've got 2 hours of Sunday school in the morning, and I can't be in both because I want to go to worship and be with the church. And so they'll be in the opposite hour of Lacey and I on Sunday mornings, and then Sunday evenings, we've got high school lead teams, we've got a middle school Bible study, and so they'll take the lead on middle school Bible study for me just so we can keep everything going.
Yeah, that's great. So I assume they were a big help through DNow weekend.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah, some on plenty of errands and things like that. So,
very good.
They were a huge help.
So thinking about kind of the behind the scenes, and that's what a lot of our podcasts are kind of geared towards, is kind of showing the behind the scenes of different things that go on in the church. Tell us a little bit about what goes on behind the scenes, and maybe it'd help if you kind of told us, for the listener that doesn't know what DNow is in general, kind of what is the setup, what does the weekend look like, how are things organized, and then how many volunteers does it take to make something like this happen?
Mm-hmm. So the weekend is set up around 3 worship services that we do together in the youth center. And so there's one Friday night, another Saturday morning, and then a final one Saturday evening. And so there we have just a typical worship service. We'll have a few songs to start off, a sermon, and then we'll go to host homes after that. So the students stay in host homes, church members who have volunteered their home for the weekend. And they have small group sessions there led by our own college students. And so that's just the rough sketch of the weekend is 3 worship services, 3 small group sessions, and there's plenty of fun that takes place in the midst of those as well. As far as volunteers, so we have about 15 host homes, and so that takes a large number of our church members to be hospitable towards our students. We also have that many college leaders, and so if it's a girls group, we'll have a college girl from our church leading that, and same for the guys. And so there's about 15 of those as well.
Yeah.
And then we've got almost all of those have co-hosts is what we call them, so people to help transport or cook while they're out running around and supply meals for the kids. And so all in all, it's probably about 50 volunteers that it takes.
Wow.
To make it work.
And it's like 24/7. I mean, you think about a host home, you're going from Friday to Sunday morning of just teenagers in your house 24/7.
Yeah, we say lights out is at 11:30, but the lights are out at that time, but they don't go to sleep. So.
Right. Wow, I can't even imagine. That's a lot. That's obviously a lot to give and a lot of time to put in. But how cool that we have 50 people willing to come and do that, and people opening up their homes, and that's incredible.
Yeah, it's a huge blessing, and thinking back to my student days going to DNow, I still remember all the host homes I stayed in. I don't remember who my leaders were necessarily or who the speaker was or the band, but I remember all my host homes. And so just the hospitality made an impression on my heart. And so I hope the same is true for our students today.
Yeah, I can remember staying, because I grew up in the church also, and I can remember staying at Matt Rower's house. And I could probably go back into that house and tell you where everything was at and where we were at, what we did. That's pretty incredible. What an awesome thing. What an awesome church to be able to pull something like that off. So what is something that people may not know that goes on as you're planning this? Things that are probably those behind the scenes things that are people aren't aware of. Maybe even the students aren't aware of going on to make this weekend happen.
Yeah. So I don't know if there's anything that people wouldn't think of. I kind of like admin stuff, but some of it's the bane of my existence in student ministry. So one of those things would be medical releases. So every year for our insurance policy, we have to have a current medical release on file. And so DNow is the first event in the calendar year, which means no one signing up has a medical release.
Right.
And so it's kind of a headache to get all that done. Another thing is background checks for all of our adults being involved in the weekend.
Yeah.
And so it's just kind of takes time to work
tedious, but
stuff.
Obviously very important.
Right.
Because everyone over the age of 18 is going to have a background check.
Yep.
That's important to know. Well, you brought a couple people with you. We have a few students, and I'm going to let you introduce them, Joey.
Okay. Well, I'll start with Colson. He's an 11th grader in our youth group. Feels called to ministry, and so I've kind of included him in some of the teaching that we do throughout the year, so pool Bible studies over the summer and things like that. So he's in our Men's Institute, one of our high school students there, also a prolific nicknamer. So him and his buddies just give everyone nicknames, and they're pretty catchy. So that's a talent they've got. So Colson eventually someday wants to go to seminary and be in ministry, and so he's a valuable part of our youth group and our church as a whole. I've also got Jamie with me. She's also an 11th grader, and she likewise feels called to ministry of some kind, particularly in Bible translation, right?
Supposedly.
Okay, supposedly. That's what she thinks right now. And Jamie, I heard a rumor that you have the book of Romans memorized. Is that true?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
That's
I didn't think it was
amazing.
True. Okay. So Romans memorized. We don't have time for you to recite it now, but someday that'd be fun to hear.
That's a whole nother episode.
Yeah. So Jamie knows Greek, and so she can read most of what John wrote in Greek, and so that's a skill she's got. But she's a huge part of our youth group and our leadership team, as is Colson.
Wow, I'm so impressed right now with both of you guys. That's so impressive. Okay, so Colson, I have a question for you that has nothing to do with DNow.
Okay.
But you're feeling called to ministry.
Right.
Okay, so what is something that you've learned from Joey as you're exploring this calling and looking into ministry and wanting to pursue that with your life?
That if you're gonna go into the ministry, you need to do that with a heart and a mindset that's focused on the glory of God, not yourself.
Yeah.
And you need to spend your time in your study, not doing other things that aren't as productive to Christ.
Man, that's so good. That's good advice. Good job, Joey.
Yeah, you're welcome, Colson.
Yeah, thanks, Joey. Thanks. Yeah.
Okay, so Jamie, tell me something you learned this week or this weekend at DNow, how it's kind of impacted you.
It's hard to just pick just one.
Okay. You can give us a couple things.
I mean, do I have to share from teaching or just from the weekend as a whole?
The weekend as a whole.
I love just getting to know the girls at my house more.
Okay.
Like for like one of them, I was able at the house we were staying at. There was this lake in their backyard, so
Okay.
like some people went fishing and other people did. But me and this one girl got to walk around the lake, and it was cool because like I didn't know her very well, but she got to share her testimony with me, and we just had a good conversation. That was probably my favorite part of the weekend.
Okay.
As far as the teaching, I mean, like Joey said, Titus 3 was very convicting about submitting to your authorities, and just, you know, even just the way you think about them is like how it is supposed to be submissive and respectful.
Yeah.
So.
Jamie really struggles to submit to her parents, is why she said that. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I believe that. I believe you're kidding is what I mean. Colston, what about you? What'd you learn from this weekend?
Just the grace of God, how great it is upon us.
Mm.
As far as everything from that, we didn't deserve it by any means.
Yeah.
Like Joey said when he quoted the verse earlier, it starts with He saved us. We had nothing to do with it other than our sin. So that was just great having a weekend in this culture that was actually Christ-centered, focused on the grace of God, not only in the preaching but the band. The band was spectacular because normally Damon Music once said this after Falls Creek. He was talking about how the band is just a super fun Jesus rock band. And so I was just so glad that the band that we had wasn't, that they were focused on biblical songs that were edifying.
That's good.
There were no fog machines or anything.
Yeah,
it was so weird.
It was great.
Yeah. It's good stuff.
Yeah, and to piggyback on what Colson said about God's grace, on the last night, Jeff kind of tied together the whole book of Titus for us, revolving around the theme of grace. And so from the beginning, it's about God's promise before the ages began in Titus 1, that God promised to redeem a people for his Son and through his Son. And Titus 2, the grace appeared in Jesus Christ and walked the earth. And Titus 3 is the grace that he saved us with. And so, it was a perfect word to kind of summarize the weekend.
That's so good. That's really good. Okay, so you mentioned the weekend being so good, and one comment I've heard over and over and over again is just people or students saying how much they needed this weekend. Why was this weekend so important for you to have, and why does a student need to come to a thing called DNow?
Well, I mean, it's a full weekend of hearing the preaching of the word.
Yeah.
There's never a weekend we don't need that. So in order for 120-something students to all be able to gather under the preaching of the word, it's just terrific.
Yeah, that's good. What do you think?
Yeah, along the same lines, just having that time devoted to God's word. Like, I can study scripture on my own, right? But having that time like set apart and also doing it with other people makes all the difference of like doing it together and worshiping together and getting to know people better, and just enjoying that time of fellowship is just really sweet and something that we don't have very often.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think maybe a less spiritual answer is just the time spent together that the students get. And so, we have fun, and they have a lot of time in their host homes.
Yeah.
And so just that time together brings them, closer in relationship together. Like Jamie was talking about, you get to know students that, you didn't know so well when the weekend started.
Yeah, that's great. So if I remember correctly, a lot of hilarious stuff happens at DNow weekends. That's what happens when everyone stays up till at least 11:30 at night. And then they have a full day of activities the following day. So what is something that was just hilarious, rememberable that happened? It didn't have to be spiritual, just funny. What tell us a funny story from the weekend.
Well, I don't think anybody will ever forget poor Trace breaking his collarbone on the ice before we even started doing anything.
Oh, it was before you even started?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my goodness.
Before we started ice skating or broomball, Trace just wiped out and broke his collarbone.
Bit it.
So he left with his collarbone in 3 pieces. Yeah. Just had surgery.
That's certainly rememberable. I bet he remembers it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. What happened? What's something that happened with the girls that was funny?
I mean, they kind of stole my answer. Just watching everyone play broomball and ice skating was awesome, and especially because I just was terrible at it. So, got lots of good laughs, and my mom got some good videos. So, but yeah, I mean, just being at the house and like just joking around, it was really fun just to play some ping pong and Jenga and just different games like that. It was fun.
That's great. Yeah, for any of our northern listeners that may be out there, Oklahoma is not known for, ice skating or ice sports. So a bunch of teenagers from Oklahoma on the ice, that's nothing but hilarious, top to bottom. So you guys are both juniors, correct?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I'm excited for you. You get another year, but I'm also disappointed because that means you aren't coming to the Crossroads ministry next year. But I look forward to you guys, graduating up into my ministry area. I look forward to having you. But what is something you're looking forward to in next year's DNow?
Everything.
Everything?
Yeah.
Okay.
Weekend with the guys is always a fun one. So
Yeah, absolutely. What about you, Jamie?
I mean, DNow has always been a good time for me to invite friends, and like this year I had 2, past year I had 1, so I think it's just a good way for me to bring people to church who wouldn't normally come.
Yeah, that's good. And I think it's a good way to expose our friends, just because it's we're having a lot of fun, and I think kind of stereotypically a lot of people they don't want to go to a church service, they don't want to do that kind of thing, and I think it shows a whole different side of us as a people, that we have a lot of fun while we're still honoring, glorifying the Lord.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's really important. Well, Joey, anything else you want us to know about DNow or about these students?
We're just grateful to the church to provide budget for us to do things like this. 'Cause, we only charge students $50 for the whole weekend, which I think is pretty reasonable.
Yeah.
For what all goes on, and so just super grateful to have budget to make things like this affordable for our students. And Jamie and Colson, I love dearly. They're just a representative of the larger whole of what's going on in our student ministry.
Mm-hmm.
And so they're excellent. They love Christ. They love his word. And I'm grateful, though, that hasn't stopped with them. That's kind of spreading contagiously through our youth group, just a love for the word and a love for Christ. And so I'm grateful for them kind of leading that. Yeah.
One thing I've heard Michael, our senior pastor, say a number of times is if you're watching the news or watching the world and you feel like there's no hope left, just come and hang out with our students for just a short amount of time, and you're going to see there's a lot of hope for our future, for us as a people and a culture and our nation, because we have a lot of really great students. You guys are doing a great job, Joey. You're clearly doing a great job leading them, so we certainly appreciate you.
Thank you.
So before we leave, we always like to finish on the lightning round. And so the way we'll do this is I'm going to ask all three of you the lightning round question, and we'll start with Colston, then we'll go to Joey, then Jamie. You just give me your answer, whatever comes to mind immediately, okay?
Uh-oh.
Y'all ready?
I guess.
Okay, here we go. So what was your favorite DNow food?
Enchiladas.
Pizza.
The Texas-shaped waffles that Woody made us.
Okay, that's good. That's good. Okay, what is your favorite activity?
Skating.
Yeah, I'd say broom ball.
Okay.
Ping pong.
Ping pong? Okay, that's a good one. All right, who snored the loudest at your house?
Kyler Mitchell.
So I was staying at my own house, so none of us really snored.
Okay.
I don't think. Maybe it's me.
Yeah, it's probably you.
I wouldn't know because I was out.
Oh, you were out. Okay, so you're one of the ones that went to sleep.
Yeah, we divided into the girls who cared about their sleep and the girls who didn't, and I was
smart.
Yeah.
That is smart.
Something else about Jamie that's so impressive. She always gets great sleep.
Yeah. Okay.
Falls Creek, mission trips, whatever.
Okay, now this question is just for Colson and Jamie, but how much would you pay to see Joey shave his beard?
Oh, none, because in 6th grade, we were on the mission trip, and I told Joey he should grow a beard, and now he's got a beard. So.
Wow,
yeah,
check it out.
It's 100% true. He was telling me, he told me he watched this Netflix show called American Beards.
Something like that, yeah.
He was like, you should grow a beard. It'd be good. I was like, okay.
Okay.
And I did.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Jamie?
I don't know. I like the beard.
Like the beard. Okay. So no one's staying.
It's
Okay.
staying.
All right. It's not going to be like a youth group activity if they raise so much money or have so many people here. You're gonna shave the beard for them?
No,
I don't blame you. I wouldn't shave it either.
Smart move.
Well, if you've never seen Joey in person, you need to come see him and just take a look at a great beard. He's got the best beard on staff, that's for sure. So mine's gotten quite long lately, so
you're growing it out.
Trying to
Looks good.
trying to keep up, trying to get in the cool kid club. But, well, anything else you guys want to add about DNow this weekend?
No.
Okay. Well, thank you guys so much for being on, and thank you for listening and being a part of the 412 podcast. If you ever have any questions, feel free to reach out to FBC Mustang or go to fbcmustang.org. Thank you so much for listening. We'll see you next time with the 412 podcast.